All right, let's talk about the Access Network. For many years on the program, I have talked about the under-resourced communities financially that exist in different parts of the world. This comes in many forms: lack of access to banking, lack of ability to obtain loans in order to create businesses or grow businesses. And it really takes a lot of different forms. And it's very easy in the West, particularly in the developed West, to understand the limitations that exist in the sort of realm of finance for people in different parts of the world. And that's specifically what Access Network is targeting. Access Network is structured as an incentivized token economy to empower users to decide exactly what types of financial tools they're going to have access to. And the sort of underlying goal is, as we talked about in the interview we did with Access, the goal is to provide more and better financial services to people who need them, including in West Africa and potentially in other parts of the world. And most of the people in the world who don't have access to financial tools, we aren't even really aware about the extent to which that is taking place. And it's a barrier to a healthy economy, and it's a barrier to the generation of a sort of increased standard of living in lots of developing countries. And that's exactly what Access Network wants to deal with. And we did an interview with Mickey Costa from Access Network. I hope that you check out that interview where we talked about some of the elements of their project. And he is an attorney, a serial entrepreneur, really impressive background. He's founded other companies that use technology to solve social problems, including a political crowdfunding platform, a mobile banking company called Atlas, which I'm going to be talking more about in a second because it's actually related to Access Network. And overall, these are the types of folks that we want creating this kind of coming together of technology and sort of social mission type projects. They've also got their co-founder and CTO, James Schuler. He was a recipient of a 20 under 20 fellowship, which is definitely a notable accomplishment. He's the CEO of Atlas. He's the CTO of Eligible, which is a healthcare administration software company that he founded when he was just 17 years old. And he's also worked with Mickey on multiple projects over many years. So there's already synergy here when it comes to the team. And then Stanford graduate Jose Fernandez is the president of Atlas. The rest of the Access Network team, mostly software and blockchain specialists who have a lot of the required expertise we would hope for in a project like this. And they're headed up by the core team, who I mentioned by name. And all three are entrepreneurs who've spent most of their careers on projects that bring tech solutions to social issues. CTO, CEO, and president of Access Network also hold their respective positions at a company called Atlas. And Atlas really is where the discussion of Access Network should start. So Access Network is different from a lot of ICOs in that it already has a lot of establishment and infrastructure among the people it's targeting. And the team behind Access is also the team behind Atlas, which is a peer-to-peer, branchless, share economy banking platform that uses blockchain to give people who are underserved in developing countries mobile access to financial services like banking and loans. Atlas is based in Ghana in West Africa, and basically it allows anyone in a developing country with a smartphone to purchase digital fiat credit using cash. And Atlas has agents who go around door to door every day. They collect the cash deposits from people in their own communities, and they make those deposits and record them into the customer's Atlas mobile banking app. And then at the end of the month, the users pay a subscription fee and a 1% withdrawal fee. There's about 17,000 users in Ghana and Senegal, over 300 of these door-to-door community bankers, and over $1.5 million collectively deposited in Atlas peer-to-peer bank accounts right now. 3,000 loans have been facilitated with no defaults. So that's Atlas. If we move on to the Access Network, Access is building a token economy that will go on top of the Atlas platform which is meant to provide financial tools to people in developing countries. And Access is a decentralized governance structure. It wants to incentivize the development of more and more useful financial services that can be integrated into the Atlas platform. And people in the developing world who need access to these financial services, something I've been talking about for a long time on our program, will be able to use the Access platform and use Access tokens, ACX. And ACX will be used to vote on new network decisions. An example of a network decision could be what type of financial tool should be developed and made available next on the platform. So then users vote on what type of financial tool they want, maybe a certain type of loan or a cheaper way to send money with the platform. One vote equals a certain number of tokens, so everyone has the same amount of power. And those tokens go to an incentive pool of tokens. That incentive pool gets set aside to incentivize third-party developers to create a solution to the problem. And the third-party developers then compete to create the best solution so that they can be awarded out of the tokens from the incentive pool. The users, of course, vote on which platform they like the best, and that development team gets the tokens. The users then use those same ACX tokens to access the financial service that their votes helped get to a point of creation and availability. And then users can also exchange ACX amongst themselves. Access believes that this is going to be an effective and democratic way to produce countless decentralized apps that will help people in developing countries, and that the speed at which new financial tools will be created for the network will also go up. So what would be great about the Access network in its sort of final ideal state is that it will connect two different types of parties with different needs. So first, you've got these underserved populations in developing countries who undoubtedly need better access to financial tools. The other party are the developers who are creating great decentralized technology and hopefully will continue creating it, but they may be struggling to find real-world use cases for the software. So the Access network will hopefully bring these two things together so that developers will have an incentive to serve people who need their services, and the people who need the services will get the services. That part is pretty obvious. And Access sees the project as further giving people in developing countries control over their own banking and their financial services and their own lives by extension of that. And by not only allowing them to do their own consumer-to-consumer banking on the platform, but also by having access to more financial tools and the processes of supply and demand becoming democratized, it's going to be a win for those populations. And it's such a massive opportunity to have improved financial services in Africa and other developing regions. And as we talk about on the show all the time, wealth and development are heavily concentrated in the world. The level of inequality that we have at the macro and even at the micro levels across countries and within countries, between continents and also within continents. This is partially because of very varied levels of access to financial services like loans, banking, the ability to send and receive money at an affordable price. And Atlas and Access aren't assuming they know what the communities need and want. They're actually seeing the value as allowing the users from the communities to decide for themselves what's going to most effectively work for them. And if that works well, that will actually organically grow the Access and Atlas platforms and provide people with good services. So from a social and ethical perspective, this is by just leaps and bounds one of the most interesting projects that we've talked about on the program, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months with the project. I'm going to be following them, and I invite you to check out this project using the link underneath the video. Of course, I'm talking about the merits of the project, the team, the technology, the opportunity, the problem. I'm not giving financial advice, and everybody should do their own financial advice if they're thinking about making any kind of financial investment.